In this task, you're going to be looking at the VFA gym. So the task states that the VFA gym has been misused, and it gives a number of examples of how it's being misused. You need to put together an induction/procedure manual for the user groups. Now, user groups for the VFA gym would include the teachers, the students using it, and personal trainers that might be using it as well. So the manual needs to include the following: the booking procedure. So if you want to book the VFA gym, risk analysis. Now we don't need you to do a risk analysis because that's been done in other areas, but some information on how and when risk analysis should be performed. Proper use of equipment. Now we don't expect you to put something in there for every piece of equipment, but just some broad rules. So using resistance training equipment in line with the specifications or the instructions that are set out on the piece of equipment. Using spotters, ensure collars are on equipment. So put the proper use of equipment guidelines in place for the cardio equipment, the resistance training equipment, but also that loose equipment in there such as the balls, the skipping ropes, etc. So we're looking for you to establish 10 proper use guidelines for this one here. Pack down procedure. So what's the procedure at the end of the session? So if you're a trainer or supervisor or even a group of students, what's expected to pack up the gym at the end of the session? How are you supposed to leave the gym? Gym rules, so you should be familiar with gym rules. So we want you to establish 6 gym rules. Capacity rules, so how many people can be in the gym at any stage, and what are the supervision requirements? Does there need to be a supervisor in there at any stage? Do they need to have a certain qualification? And what's the ratio of supervisors to participants? So calling this a manual sort of suggests that this is going to need to be a booklet. Obviously this would be a component of a manual. So to cover these requirements, we'd expect approximately 400 words. After putting together the manual, you need to put together a 20-minute PowerPoint presentation to educate the VFA students on the use of the gym. So the presentation needs to include a PowerPoint presentation, which is going to cover the major aspects of the induction procedure manual that you developed in Part A. It also needs to include a tour of the gym and demonstration on use of equipment. For demonstration on use of equipment, we'll look at 3 pieces of equipment. Whilst completing the aspects of Part B, your trainer and assessor will complete the observation checklist down the bottom here. So important that you become familiar with the aspects of this checklist because your trainer will be using it to assess you throughout the presentation. Then in Part C, you need to develop a feedback form. So you develop the feedback form, and if you have a look at the dot points here, it establishes the information that needs to be collected in the feedback form. And you need to hand it out to some of the participants that have taken part in your presentation. Once you've collected the feedback, in consultation with your group members, you are to answer the following questions in your summary. So the questions are: what did the audience like most about the program? What aspects of the program did they think needed improvement? Did your presentation go to plan? If not, why? Evaluate all components of the program as a group and provide at least 3 recommendations that you will change. And reflecting on your performance, what did you do well? And what do you think you could improve on for future programs? So basically there's 5 questions here. So to summarize what needs to be uploaded, basically at the start you need to do Part A and put this manual together, and we have already discussed the workout requirements for that. Part B is a presentation. You need to perform this presentation and your assessor will watch you do it, but you're not required to upload your PowerPoint presentation. Part C requires you to collect feedback, so you've got to put together a basic feedback form and collect it, but you don't need to upload the feedback forms. But you do need to answer these questions. So this is going to be completed as a Word document. Part A is a Word document, and then at the end of Part A, we need you to write Part C and write each of these 5 questions down and answer these questions. So all you're required to upload is 1 Word document, which is going to have Part A, which is the manual in it, and then Part C, the second part of Part C, which has got the responses to these questions. For this task, we encourage you to work in groups of 3 to encourage collaboration. However, it's important that when you present your Word document, it is your own work. So the information will obviously be similar because you have worked in a group, but your assessor will be making sure that your work is unique.